Hello everybody, how you doing? Long time. I haven't made a video in a very long time. As you all know, so my name is Wendy Morgan, and I'm a spiritual mentor. I am a 5-layer empath, and I also channel one's higher self and soul and spirit. So I've been gone for a while, and for those of you who are close to me know that I actually contracted the COVID-21 flu, as I like to say. And for me, I really take care of my health. I'm a holistic healthcare practitioner, and I know how to activate certain genes, and I've been doing so for a very long time. I know how to activate my own stem cells. Been doing that for quite some time, a little over a year now. So my jaunt through going through COVID, extrapolating and having the symptoms come through my body, were actually pretty mild in comparison to a lot of people who found themselves, unfortunately, God bless them, in the hospital, or even worse, have found themselves on the other side of the veil. And for any one of you who have lost family members, my heart goes out to you, and just holding a moment of visual for you and your family and all those that whom have passed, and unfortunately those who still yet will pass. So I hold you in my heart, guys. I'm really, really sorry, but we will all get through this. But anyways, for me, the hardest part, going through COVID for me was not the hard part. It's 3 weeks. Well, yeah, you're down. From my symptoms, basically were really extreme, heavy cold and chest cold issues, and just pure exhaustion. Like you don't, lifting your arm is exhausting. It's just really, really exhausting. And it was not only physically exhausting, but it's, you can feel it in your frontal cortex, how that's, you just can't think. It's like really, really, you're really, really tired, and you just can't think through things. And then also my eyes would start to sting and burn. And I know whenever I felt that, it's like, it's time to lay down. You have to lay down. You can't push through anything. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a push through person. It's like, if I feel like I got to eat, no, push through this last task so I get it done. So that was my experience. But now after, those 3 weeks have been basically over, now I'm dealing with the residual. Honestly, I would prefer just to deal with the 3 weeks and have it be done. The residual, actually, you get up, it's like, hey, some days you feel great. And then other days it's, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. You get up, you might feel great, and then within 2 hours, it's like, oh my gosh, my eyes are burning. I need to lay down again. Or, oh my gosh, my head, it just feels like somebody put pea soup in my frontal cortex and I can't think. Or I have my body, it's just like a heavy, heavy lead 5,000-pound weight, and I can't move it. And those symptoms sometimes come on one at a time, or sometimes all at the same time. And it's really hard, and especially for my daughter. So my daughter, my eldest daughter, my grandson, myself, and my daughter that lives with me, my 6-year-old daughter, she as well had it. And what's really unfortunate is, kind of pisses me off actually, little venting moment. You guys never hear me vent. So she goes to school, and we are part of a co-op system, so she only goes to school 2 times a week, and it's because we homeschool. But nevertheless, with her brain, she's going through the same thing that I'm going through. With some hours she does fine, and then might be 6 hours she's down. And they're like, well, too bad, get the work done anyway. And it's like, so you're sleeping in bed with the whole protocols to COVID as far as lockdown, wearing masks and everything else, but yet you're in complete denial as far as how your students are trying to recuperate from the COVID. So that's really pissing me off. Because I'm sorry, you can't hold one because it's your benefit and not support the children. So that's really pisses me off. But anyways, moving along. So for those of you whom I've already kind of shared a little bit, I wanted to come on here and share my experiences, not just physical experiences going through the COVID virus, but I was gifted to see the other side of it. And anybody and everybody can move through this if you happen to catch COVID and move through the symptoms of COVID. So I remember one day when I was just feeling really crappy, and I'm like, okay, so, we're programmed to resist feeling bad, to resist, lower vibrational thoughts, to resist lower vibrational energy, emotions, to resist anything that hurts, to resist anything. We're just kind of like, I just want to close the door. Don't want to look at that. We want to be in denial of it. But the thing is you're still resisting it. You're still putting a lot of focus on it. Inadvertently, you're putting focus on it. And therefore, you're putting a lot of energy into it. And so therefore, you're making your symptoms or your feeling or your thought or your situation worse, because it just kind of amplifies it with your focus. So when I was going through this process, I was like, oh, gosh, I feel bad. I don't know if it was coughing, or I don't remember what the actual issue was that I was thinking about. And I was remembering the download of information that Spirit gave me a couple months ago. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm resisting it, right? Because I don't want to feel this. Who does, right? And so I just said, you know what? I'm going to embrace this. I chose to have this. I chose to contract. I chose to contract this virus. I chose to feel the symptoms within my body and allow the changes to be made to my DNA, because it's what it does. So this is not a mistake, guys. This is all, you can look at life as being, here's me, and then there's some mistakes and there's some good things, or it's all good things. It all depends on your perspective. And it is all good things. If you think for a second that the divine God that created everything, it all started with God, right? And then God created everything. It means everything underneath that God created, whether it be the good, the bad, or the ugly, or the viruses, or the good feelings, God still created all that. And it's all for a purpose. So have faith and trust that this is all going to work out exactly the way it's supposed to work out. So if you do contract the virus, really, really work on embracing it. So I found that when I embraced, let's say, my coughing or my headache, I think a really good friend of mine, love her to pieces, she called me up and she said, let's go ahead and work on your headache today. And it was just a little amount of energy that I needed, and she helped as well. But it made me see a side of it that once I started to embrace the headache, instead of resisting it, I was embracing it and saying, I am this headache. I made these choices. I'm going to take responsibility instead of pushing it away and blame it on somebody else. That doesn't get you anywhere, guys. So pulling it in and taking responsibility to, on a subconscious level or a spiritual level, you agreed to have this, and it's a gift. That I pulled it in and I was like, I embrace it. I know that this was it. Guys, the more I went to it, said, I am this cough. I am this headache. I am this sinus stuff. I can see the sinus stuff affects the sixth chakra, which is also your pineal gland. The lungs is it was your heart chakra. Headache is also your crown and your pineal gland. And the more I embraced it, and we said, I am, and then I love, which is the agape system, the symptoms actually decreased. They became more tolerable, and it became more at ease with it. And when focusing on the headache, I noticed that the headache actually seemed, as my friend Kathleen said, felt like it was outside of the head. And I don't know if you guys ever know, but with what's it called? Is it EKG? No, it's EEG, where they put the probes on your skull to find the brain activity. They're not touching your brain, because your brain activity and the energy from your brain actually echoes outside of your body. And that's how they're able to pick up the fine vibrations of how your brain activity is simply by having these, having the cap of the electrodes on your skull. And so when I was paying attention to the headache from COVID, it basically was outside my head. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's electromagnetic field is being altered, is being shifted, it's being changed. And so we're all affected by electromagnetic frequencies. The sun puts them off all the time. The earth planet puts them off all the time. We get them up from the center galactic. It's always hitting our planet all the time. We are way affected by electromagnetic frequencies. And to see how this is changing things from the inside. And then I was able to go to the emotional body and see how it's really changing and altering the emotional body and the mental body and the physical body, and really kind of sloughing things off of lower vibration that was no longer serving me. And it's literally, for those of you who are more into the spiritual aspect and, through this ascension process, is it really was moving me out of my third dimensional body completely and into my light body of the fifth dimensional body, which was rather fascinating. I'm like, wow, this is really cool. Now, does that mean, therefore, one has to go through a flu as such, or COVID flu? It could just have been, no, actually, I got tested. I did have COVID-21. But anyways, does that mean you have to go through it in order to get a light body or to, go up? No, it does not. everybody's different on this particular path of this ascension process. And so if for you, you just might, you know, just get a cold, or you might not get anything. If you meditate, I know friends of mine that meditate like all the time, way more than I ever do. And they are ascending through their, into higher vibrations within their own body. So maybe they're not going to get something that will literally affect the physical body to really shake and jar away the lower vibration that's stored in our cellular body. I don't know. I'm just telling you from my perspective and my experience. So when I was able to see that this was definitely an intentional experience for my body to move through, for my body to shift and change all 5 bodies, which is physical, mental, emotional, etherical, and spiritual, it's going to affect all those layers. And I was like, wow, I can really embrace this a bit more. Still don't like the residual, but I'm working on that. And if I find something, I have to talk to another friend of mine, Sean, because she's had this a while ago. And she says, man, when you get out on the other side of the 6 months, it's amazing. And I think actually probably it's going to be less than 6 months because we're catapulting so forward so quickly. But anyway, so I just wanted to come and jump on here and say hi and hello. And yes, I am alive and I'm doing fine. Just, don't really think very well, all that well, now and then. And I'm not really on my 100%, but I have learned that when I do go through my meditative process and I do connect to my higher self and my light body and the light wave of photons that's heading towards our planet, it's already in the galaxy, or excuse me, it's already in the solar system. If you want to know more about that, let me know and I'll make a video about that later. Then my symptoms for that day are less. So, again, it's where you put your intentions. And I think that the reason, and this is just my hypothesis thought, it has nothing to do with me connecting with spirit or spirit tell me this, but to me, it's like, if I'm having trouble thinking and going through my normal daily tasks of 3D, right, then that would make sense, because it's like, stop trying to think, stop trying to use this, go here, use that, which is more 5D. Really work from a different perspective of your light body and your 5th dimensional body, and coming from the heart, working from there now. And I think it's really trying to stop the 3rd dimensional carbon-based thought process in which we are trying to move through. And I hope that made sense. So anyways, it's been 12 minutes. Actually, it's probably 13 or 14 by the time I get off here. So I just want to say thank you very much for all your love, all your kind wishes. My gosh, guys, honestly, in the midst of feeling like shit, reading your messages, getting, waking up. I actually avoided my phone because you just don't want to go on it. It hurts your brain. But when I did go on it and I saw messages from you guys left and right, of pure love, of pure sending great energy to my health. Seriously, I was in tears. I was crying. It felt so good sorry, I'm going to get all teary-eyed now. It felt so good to know that I was embraced in love and light from all of you, and to know that I'm going to be okay. And I really appreciate it. I never had a fear that anything negative was going to happen to me, or I was going to get really bad off. I never had that fear. I've been in the health and wellness industry and the field for 30 plus years. I know the body, I know the immune system, and I've dealt with so many other people who've had poor immune systems and those who have not. And I know my immune system was good. But your words touched me, and I am so grateful. So thank you so very much. I hope you found this video informative. If you have any questions or anything, please leave a comment below. And I love you guys. Thank you so much. You have a good evening. Bye-bye.